Hey everyone, welcome back to Papa's Workshop. In today's video, I have a outdoor community project that we're going to be doing. I'm going to be using the CNC machine and a whole lot of painting to be able to restore a sign as a community project. Now this sign is in great need of repair. The logo is in horrible shape. It's faded, it's covered with moss and mildew, and it has tree limbs that are hanging over it that need to go away. So on day one, I decided to be able to start with the new logo, because the logo that's on that sign is just completely deteriorated and is of no value whatsoever. Now the material that I chose to use is a 1/4-inch piece of PVC material, and this works great. It's weatherproof, it will not rot, and it'll stand the test of time. As far as the size of this sign, it needs to be 13 3/4 square. So I'm taking the PVC, I set it up on the table saw, set the fence at 13 3/4 inches. Once I made that first cut, then all I need to do is just rotate this around and cut it one more time to give my piece of material 13 3/4 by 13 3/4. The next step is to give it a good cleaning, and I'm just using Windex to do this and a paper towel. So I sprayed a little Windex on it, wiped it down real good, and I wanted to make sure that it was completely dry. The reason being is I want to mask this material off because I'm going to be spray painting the logo onto this material. The masking that I'm using is the Aura Mask 813. I have found that this material works real well for pretty much any application that I need to be able to have a stencil. The nice thing about it is, on this particular piece, I just cut it a little bit oversized, put it onto the edge, and then stretch it across. Now, one thing I didn't do, I didn't line it up very well. And it was like, whoops, those things will happen, but that's okay. It's not going to cause a problem. I have the actual logo cut where there's a 3/4 of an inch offset. So even though this Aura Mask is not covering top to bottom, that's really okay. It's not going to interfere with the logo at all. But I am going to fix the problem because I don't want overspray to get onto that portion of the material either. So to fix the problem, I'm just literally cutting off the excess off of the end, and I'm just going to rotate it around and put it right on the bottom. And that fixes the problem on this end, and I'm going to do the same thing on the top side. And that covers real well, and that's really all I need. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just needs to be able to cover to prevent the overspray. Now this next step is very important. Now that I have the PVC board completely covered with the Aura Mask 813, this step is critical. You need to take a plastic putty knife and be able to rub this down and make sure that it sticks very, very well. Do not skip this step. This is critical to be able to have a good carving and a good paint job. And you notice I'm pushing this in one direction, then I rotate it, and I'm pushing this down and rubbing it in the other direction. Now we put it on the CNC machine, and I'm using my glue and tape method to be able to secure this to the CNC machine. I have found that this works really, really well, especially when you're cutting through the material, and I've shown the glue and tape method on a number of occasions. I'm starting off with a detail pass, and this is a 90-degree V-bit, and I want to do the detailed pass first to be able to cut this material, and it gives a nice clean edge. I'm also cutting this very, very shallow. The cut depth on this is 0.05 of an inch. So it's very shallow. And the reason that I'm doing this is I don't want dirt, debris, and just trash and mildew getting onto this sign and having a place for it to grab hold and not just flow off when we have the rain or the weather that's going to be on this sign. So again, this is a very, very shallow carve. And I'm doing the detailed pass first. And I know that goes against the grain of a lot of people out there because they always think they have to do the roughing pass first. Well, no, you really don't. As you might expect, this portion goes rather quickly to be able to cut all the details and all the fine lines of this logo. To create this design, I used the VCar Pro, and then normally I would use the open build controller, but for some reason that just was not working today. So I went back to my backup, which is the Universal G-Code sender, and this is 1.0.9 from 2015. But guess what, guys? It works. Quite frankly, I don't know what happened to my open build controller, but it would not load. It did not recognize this same CNC machine that I have been using for quite some time. So that's going to be for another video to figure out why. I did switch bits to an 1/8 inch downcut bit to be able to do the roughing pass and to be able to clear out everything. Now that that's all finished, it's time to remove this from the board. And I use a putty knife to be able to break loose that glue and that tape because it really holds well. I know some of you out there think that this does not work and you've had failures. Well, look at how hard it is to be able to remove this. I'm using a putty knife to be able to break this loose, and it takes some work to do it. I didn't show the spray painting because some of you guys have gone on to me about, wow, you crazy, you're showing me how to spray paint? Well, so I went ahead and spray painted this without video in it, and it's now time for the most rewarding part, and that's taking off the masking. It starts to show what it really truly looks like, and this to me is the most exciting part, to be able to reveal what this logo actually looks like. And it doesn't take long to be able to remove all of the masking. At times you can just grab hold to the edge and just pull, and it works out real well. Other times I'll take a little small knife or a pointed object to be able to lift up the edge of the masking to be able to get something to be able to grab hold to and just pull it right off. I absolutely love working with the Oramask 813 and doing this type of project. This to me is a lot of fun. This paint actually dries very, very quickly, especially with the heat. It only took about a half hour or 45 minutes for it to dry, and I was able to start removing the masking. I don't like to let this sit overnight. I want to be able to get the masking off just as soon as I can touch it and handling the project without causing a problem. So again, about 30 to 45 minutes, and here is the end results. On the early morning of day one, it was time to clean the sign, and I just took a little inexpensive pump sprayer, put in a cleaning solution, and sprayed it. Oh, and by the way, had to bring our own water. So I just grabbed about five 5-gallon buckets, filled them with water, threw them in the back of the truck, and here I am at the sign. Day two was a great day. Was able to get all of the gray painted and the CJH painted in the dark blue, and we started painting the navy blue on the other portion too. It's really starting to come together. It's actually beginning to look like a real sign again. I just wish it wasn't so hot outside. I could actually work a longer period of time. But I wanted to show you the back of this sign too. This actually was the worst portion of the dirt, mildew, mold. It looked horrible. Now, it looks like a brand new sign. I want to continue working on the logo now. I'm using a Weldwood contact cement. This is waterproof and it's going to be perfect. I put the glue onto the surface of the logo as well as onto the face that's already on the sign. I have to let this dry. You let it dry to the touch and then you put it onto the sign. Contact cement is great because when you line this up and you stick this logo onto the surface of the sign, it sticks, it's not moving, it's not going anywhere, it's waterproof, and it's going to be fantastic. I absolutely love how this sign is coming together. So this concludes day two. Back at day three, and it was time for all the little fine details. We had to finish up the blue and paint around all these small letters. That was quite a challenge. The good thing is I had a little bit of help today to be able to finish this sign up. I'm not sure what the heat index was for this day, but I can tell you it was definitely hot, and it was great having some help to be able to finish the sign. The letters needed to be painted as well, and to do that we used a stippling technique. This worked extremely well to be able to provide a good coverage for the letters and not interfere with the background colors that we had previously put on. So it really made the letters look great. And here is the finished sign. I think it looks fantastic. I am so happy that we were able to do this over 3 days. Now, literally, it only took a couple hours a day because of the extreme heat. And here it is, the before look at what the sign looked like to begin with, and now let's look at the finished product. I'm very happy to be able to participate in redoing this sign. Thank you very much for watching this video today, and I hope that you will take the opportunity to look around your community and see what you can do to be able to help to make and improve your community that you live in. So again, thank you. Look forward to seeing you real soon. Bye-bye.